Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order at 11. Please stand and join us in the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's call the roll. Present.
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 I need a motion to approve the minutes from the July 16, 2024 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Should we pick that up, you think? Okay, summary of the work session, please.
This morning's work session, we entered executive session at 9:03 under Ohio Revised Code 121.22 to discuss economic development and employment within administration and fire department. We reconvened the regular meeting at 9:44. We discussed the outcome of the recent movie night we had last month, the upcoming fun day, and the sidewalk grant application that will be submitted to Lake Tran next month. Fire chief discussed the current fire engine repair options that we have moving forward. Service director talked about the road repairs on Hawk Ridge, gave various project updates within the township. Updates to Haddon Park, including the pickleball courts, some damage at Chicken-Eddy Park and the porta potties. We discussed the Sycamore Drive storm sewer work and the new brine making machine and options coming into the new season. We recognized the two new hires in the service department, Tyler and Caleb, for receiving their CDLs and the anniversary of Mike Perrin. And then the possibility of having dirt for our cap at the old landfill. We also discussed the OPWC applications that we did not receive any approvals for, and the upcoming installation from AT&T for their fiber optic project lines. And zoning discussed the 2120 Menor Avenue site plan, Harbor Crossings temporary turnaround options, and the possible remediation for homes destroyed by fires.
Okay.
Josh.
Okay, moving on. Any old business from the floor?
Is this the appropriate time to speak?
If it's old business, yes, we ask you to come up to the lectern, state your name and address for the record.
Good morning. My name is Frank Trasso. I reside at 88 Delmar Drive. I'm here today to speak to you regarding the property at 120 Johnny Cake Ridge Road. Asking you to cease and desist on your continued harassment and fraudulent actions towards the property. Why are you continuing to harass us and abuse your authority when we are clearly repairing the property and giving you a chance to leave us alone? That's a question I bring to the board. This memo is additional documentation of the numerous attempts to formally tell us to leave us alone. Cease and desist. If Mike knew that, excuse me, or this.
It's all recorded on YouTube too. If you need it, you can access it later.
So again, I'm here to formally tell you to cease and desist on your continued harassment and fraudulent actions. If Mike knew that the plans of the trustees were to tear down the buildings before he purchased the properties, he would never have bought them. Furthermore, the trustees, expect Mike to repair caved-in floors, walls, and roofs of the buildings that were abandoned for many years with unreasonable time limits. Nonetheless, it's been accomplished to date. I'm sure you drive by this property. There's been a lot of work being done. Although we've been denied due process, we've continued our due diligence to express we want to be left alone. Okay? Live peacefully and respond to threats. Below is a list of facts, merits of the case, evidence which we have further artifacts such as transcripts and recordings. First off, within weeks of obtaining the property, Mike began to be questioned and badgered by the trustees and their resources. Specifically, the administrator, at that time it was Mike Mannery, continually calling Mike, asking questions about keeping the premises secure to protect criminal trespassers. Shortly thereafter, the trustees and their resources sent Mike letters threatening to tear down the buildings. At the first meeting, and I was involved, this is September 14th, 2001, Gabe Cicconetti and Mike Mannery, the township administrator at the time, that was a meeting with just the four of us, and the other lady was here from the service department, but she left the meeting in the middle of it. But so we began to be questioned by the trustees and the resources of the county administrator about keeping the premises secure to protect criminal trespassers. Shortly thereafter, the trustees and the resources sent Mike letters threatening to tear down the buildings. Okay. Yeah, so at the first meeting, September 14, 2021, Gabe and Mike Mannery, Gabe informed us of the trustees' plan to tear down the structures before Mike even bought the place. That was brought to our attention. Mike had no knowledge of this when purchasing the properties and made demands such as a timeline and when he wants to see things done, such as the completion of the road. That was at our meeting on September 14th. We felt under duress to attend further meetings with the township trustees as our property rights, freedoms were being compromised, as evidenced by threats of tearing down the properties. This is all factual information. In further meetings with the trustees, they were clearly combative, continuing to make demands and speak to us in a derogatory, patronizing manner. For instance, on October 15th, I'm sorry, I got the date wrong here, 2021, October 15th, 2021, Gabe told us we don't have our dates right. That's kind of funny. Don't have our dates right when referring to Mike and myself using different dates for the start of winter. December 1st, 21st, he pointed out we didn't have our dates right. Funny, huh? Furthermore, at the October 15th meeting, Charles Hillier informed us that the trustees plan to vote on whether they want to condemn and tear down the mansion. At the October 19, 2021 trustee meeting, we brought and distributed a timeline that was demanded by the trustees. In addition, Michael Penko brought and distributed the first quo warrants out to the trustees. The trustees refused to accept the timeline, and they demanded us and stated they were not able to speak to us. After refusing to speak to us, it appears the trustees directed an onslaught of ill-informed agents to terrorize and harass us nonstop, including to the president. Examples include sending the Lake County Building Department agents and then making further threats to tear down the property.
So, Mr. Chairman, can I interrupt you for just a second, please?
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, all comments have to be directed to the chair, and you're scanning the room, so when you speak to the board, you have to direct the comments to the chair, which would be Mr. Cicconetti or us. We're sitting here, but when you scan the room like you are, I don't believe that's proper protocol.
It's not. I agree.
Okay.
That's all. Thank you.
Sending the fire chief to the property, this is another example, sending the fire chief, and that's why I'm looking at people, there's people in here that have, you sipped on us, that are, ill-informed agents. That's the truth. Sending the fire chief to the property, and that's why I'm looking at him. He knows it. We caught him red-handed on the property. He didn't have a warrant, taking pictures, using that as evidence that was obtained to get a warrant. That's not cool. That's not cool. That's what happened. That's a fact. So he's sending the fire chief to the property and being caught on camera trespassing, taking pictures, and this evidence being used against us. A warrant was obtained using this information. I'll repeat it. So you continue to send agents as directed by the representatives from the Lake County Land Bank with intentions to demolish the mansion. Okay? I'm here to formally serve, and I'll give you this memo as a formal follow-up to the quo warrantos that have been given to you, to immediately cease and desist your continued harassment and violations of our property, rights, and freedoms. Our privacy is part of our rights and freedoms. You're violating that. You can't just do what you want. We're calling you out on it. We've been trying to be nice and be left alone and continue to work on our project, that's one reason why Mike's not here. Do you know how much follow-up this is requiring? Do you have any idea of how much follow-up? You had plenty of time to do something about that mansion, you chose not to. And you didn't like that Mike came and bought the property. That's what happened. Tough. Tough that you don't like it. I get it. I'll say it, I've said it, and probably, I'll say things, I look at all angles, I look at your angle and everything, it doesn't matter. That property's not hurting anybody, it's being repaired. What gives you the right to just steamroll and think that you can do whatever you want? We're saying no, that's not cool. So I'll hand it, I'll give this is put in writing to you, I'll hand this to you, I'll leave it with you, you have it on record. So, when you continue with your harassment, fraudulent actions, we have no choice to take further actions, which may include the following. I'll give you a heads up. We'll continue to inform of the ill-informed agents that you're sicking upon us. We'll continue to inform them. We've already done that. We'll continue to inform them. Continuing to monitor and keep trespassers away. We do that. We'll continue to do that. We'll contact the sheriff and make trespassing reports. We'll continue to do that. We'll inform community stakeholders about the abuse of power taking place. I've started to do that, we'll continue to do that. We'll utilize social media, spread the word, and inform people of the abuse of power and fraud. We'll contact local news media with a press release, brief summary of the abuse of power taking place in Painesville Township. And then we'll file formal fraud charges with Lake County Clerk of Works. That's all I have to say. I appreciate your time. Again, cease and desist. Please leave us alone. We didn't want to talk to you. We would like to live peacefully and continue on with our project and be left alone. Thank you for your time. Can I hand this memo to you?
Yes.
Get it to our attorney, please.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
I welcome any comments or anything.
Any other old business from the floor? Any new business? If you have something you'd like to discuss, just ask you to come to the lectern, state your name and address for the record, please.
Morning, my first time here.
Morning.
2100 Manor Avenue. My name is Jim Doganero, Pat Doganero behind me. I live in that ranch where Ganley vacated on the north side of the street. I can see Popeyes 340 feet away from my property. I'm just here to try to clarify or try to see what's going to be around it. I didn't attend anything. I got the article. I came in a year ago after it was posted in the paper about Popeyes. I don't like anything there, whether it be Popeyes I like, McDonald's or anything. I live in that house there. Nothing would make me happy. You could say what restaurant you want. So that's not an issue. My issue is today is the understanding a year ago was they were going to put not fencing, I don't pronounce it properly, arborvitaes around it. And my understanding now they're not going to do that. I don't know.
Arborvitae's around the Popeyes?
Yes.
Yeah, so their landscaping has not even begun yet. I don't even think they've laid,
No, they didn't do anything.
they haven't even laid asphalt for the
Yeah.
the landscape will be like second to last. They're probably gonna put a tree in and have opening day, to be really honest. But yeah, they're definitely gonna be putting in landscaping along the sides. There will be some arborvitae's on the back corner, covering the dumpster
Okay.
area.
Good.
And then on the side that would be facing you, there would be a strip of landscaping there that would include trees, correct?
So I don't have the garbage and not blowing over from the,
Yeah, I mean,
something, a
No.
fencing or.
in terms of, there's gonna be a curb, that's your standard
I can
curb, and
see
then there's
the curb's
probably a
already-
5 to 10 foot section of grass with trees throughout. So there's not gonna be like a full-fledged barricade up that side.
My understanding a year ago when I came and talked to Miss and Mrs. DeLeon, and you were also there, over here, the first time here, that they were gonna have something like that. Building was going to be upgraded, which it is.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter what it is. I mean, it is good to look at if you wanna look at it, I don't. My backyard can see all the way to Mattress Warehouse now, that all the cars are clear. And, I go to Popeyes by Menor Mall, and, they have nothing around that one. I went to one in Euclid, where I used to live, and there's nothing around that. And, when we went a week ago, you had garbage on the ground, you know, somebody threw the garbage and bagged it. And I'm worried when it blows west to east, it's coming my way. It's like a football field away.
Yeah.
And once they tear that building down, whatever's gonna be there, we were surveying it a week ago, I'm concerned what's gonna be, that they're gonna be McDonald's, Wendy's, whatever it may be, all the way to my house. Is there anything in the bylaws that you have to put, township has to put a fencing up or anything, or, I know they have to build 50 feet off my property, but if something's 2 feet, 2 stories, 3 stories tall,
Yeah, so there's gonna be a buffer that would, like, the adjoining property that's next to you, there's a required 50-foot buffer. So in that buffer, a very, very small percentage can be, like a ditch for like retaining of water, but that's not like a pond type situation, it would be like overflow of water there, but that 50-foot buffer needs to be screening of arborvitae's, grass, and then the requirement along that residential property would be a fence.
I'm concerned about the property now, Popeyes down there.
Yeah, so,
Nothing's built in the next year to 10 years. That building's full of asbestos and oil, from what I understand. That has to be tended to. And when that goes down, I can see Popeyes like straight across the street.
so if you start getting a trash problem, obviously you can notify me because that's storage of debris.
Any place
So,
that's
and that's fine, so I'm more than glad to address them, we have a good relationship with the owner, but what is required, from our landscaping standards is, to have those trees alongside, it's not gonna be a wall of trees to block them in on there. The plan that they submitted, was approved by the zoning commission and BZA, for the landscaping, and once it's completed, it will look good. Trash, I think, comes from anywhere, to be honest. Hopefully, the neighboring lot does get developed, so it's less of an issue, and you do get that nice buffer there, and then the installation of that fence.
Maybe you could clarify this in the article if it's correct. It says, just start in mid-paragraph. Popeyes will be built ground up and include site improvements as well as landscaping and water maintenance. Skipping down, De Leon noted that the proposal goes above and beyond the township's minimum landscaping requirements. The applicant took it upon themselves to over-landscape the site. Maybe you can define that for me.
So, a dumpster enclosure, basically you can have three solid walls in the gate. They're having that, and then they're literally surrounding that whole thing, so no one has to see a dumpster from behind or from the side. Also, a lot of concerns from the Waterford residents that are in Menor that come down that private street that's in the township. They were concerned that they would have so much light coming back with the drive-through turning that way. So like on your side, you're worried about the trash blowing your way.
And the
They have
lights.
cars
The lights.
turning towards all of their houses. So they agreed to put extra trees in that wouldn't be required at our minimum.
Looking at it now with that building sitting there, you can see probably guessing 80 feet, where you could have cars pull in. It's a Popeyes in Menor, starts right at the street. And the lights have a gazebo deck in the back, and I can see straight over. Now that's clear with the cars. I'm concerned about my property there going forward. I don't know what's gonna be in between. It could be 2-3 lots. It could be anything. They surveyed it over a week ago.
Yeah.
I got the surveys card, and I'm just concerned what's going to be there in my property, and the way cars look from where I'm at.
Sean, do we have,
all
after the meeting, can you pull up the landscaping plan for
Yeah,
Popeyes if they
I-
wanna see it?
Yeah, because they had to change some of their renderings because the curb cut was denied by ODOT.
Okay,
So ultimately, the driveway had shifted, and it's certain ways in, certain ways out for the front. The building and nothing else really has necessarily changed in that nature of it.
but maybe just being able to see the landscaping plan could answer some questions.
Yeah, it will help maybe ease your concerns on it, but obviously when you're getting a hawkeye view of, you know, little green circles on there, you don't know what that's gonna be, you know what I mean, so.
It was my understanding a year ago that there was gonna be no fencing, the building was gonna be uprated. So was the landscaping on that side, that was a year ago, so I didn't attend anything, or I didn't come back yet to looking at it now. Hopefully they do put something there to block, garbage, lighting or whatever, because the lights will come straight across towards me. I don't know if you guys can do anything with it.
He can present you the plan, sir. With any development or buildings that go in, they have to do a landscaping plan. That's part of it. As far as the lighting goes, they have to keep the lighting within certain requirements. Yeah, so the lighting from that would never be designed to go all the way across to your property. I mean, you're on Menor Avenue, so you're gonna have a lot of lighting there to begin with, but, for,
I think he's talking about street, car lights, headlights,
oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood that.
but both.
Yeah, more so concerned about that.
Well,
I don't know if you guys can do anything on that.
So if garbage becomes an issue, and so there was another.
Bring it in.
Well,
Bring it to them.
So there was another business that had some. I'll just say issues with their landscaping and storage of things outside that became unsightly, and it took a little bit of time. And we were finally able to track down the right person, get them to correct it, and now we're extra vigilant and staying on top of it. So if it becomes an issue, let us know.
Gately
Need a
wasn't
CUP?
gonna have
Do they have a
issues.
CUP?
My
Conditional
kids had 15
Do they have a
feet
condition?
between the cement or the asphalt
5 year?
and my house. I take care of it, I fertilize and everything. Used to be weeds when we moved in 8.5 years ago. It looks good from the street and their property.
Okay.
Not knowing what's going there is concerning me. Also, if nothing's
just gonna
built
bring that
in
up.
between for a while, I'm gonna see a football field away. Like
And they also have they had a conditional use permit granted to them. So with those has a review period to renew that. So that gives us an opportunity if something is not being handled the way that it's supposed to per that permit that the conditional use that they got, it can be addressed in order for them to renew that conditional use, which they're going to need for operation of business because it addresses their drive-through. So if we're in an instance where something's not operating as it's supposed to per their conditional use that the Board of Zoning Appeals, that it can't get renewed and they can't do business. So they're going, most businesses we find when they come time for that renewal of that conditional use permit, if something is an issue, they're going to correct it because they need that renewal to continue to do business. So that creates an opportunity for the township to ensure that the businesses are operating under the permit the way they're supposed to. And that's why that renewal period exists, to ensure that if it's not, it can be addressed before they get their renewal to continue doing business.
when is the renewal, every year?
Well, right now it's a 1 year and it was granted close to a year ago, so they're going to be up pretty soon, even probably before they start operations. So at that point, the BZA will decide if they put another year on it, or it's usually a year to 5 years. But I would think that because they haven't even started operation, they'll probably put another year on it. I can't speak for that board; they're an independent board, but I would venture to guess that they're going to apply another 1 year so that they can address it. Usually, new businesses they'll do 1 year once they start operating to catch those things early on, right? And then once they get established and they see that they're adhering to that permit, they'll usually become a 5 year, in most cases, a 5 year renewal. But I would, again, I can't speak for them because they're an independent board. We have no control over what they do. But I would assume that they would apply another 1 year renewal on it to see how the first year operations go, since they haven't been up and operating yet.
Any idea what's going in that vacant property, anybody?
So, we had a conversation, thank you for the information on the Fords and the financing, appreciate that. I have your number, honestly, I got the information, I think on Wednesday, I think we spoke earlier in the week on maybe Monday. I updated the trustees report, and you are literally on my list in my room to call to discuss the plans. So the owner of the property submitted like a preliminary parcel split type situation of possible use that was presented to the trustees to look at.
Housing,
Now,
It's all that's commercial. Everything, even the houses that are on Menor Avenue are now zoned commercial. They're non-conforming use. So if their residence ceases to exist for a period of 2 years, those would not be residential anymore. All of that would be commercial because it is a commercial district. So those few houses along Menor Avenue, are legal non-conforming uses under commercial because they were residential, but that whole street is a commercial district. So anything that's put in on that street has to be commercial, no residential. Yeah. All right. Any other new business or old business? Okay, moving on. Lake County Sheriff's Office. Morning.
In the month of July, Sheriff's Office responded to 1,404 calls for service. We had 10 accidents, 5 of those were injury related. We issued 52 citations. We issued 395 traffic warnings. We had 16 arrests. 6 of those were OBIs, 6 were domestic violence cases, 4 of them were felony drug possession cases. One notable arrest, turned out to be a pretty serious incident, was a call that came in on Route 2. Motorist reported another motorist ahead was waving a firearm out the window at riding erratic. And as our deputies were in the area, they ended up exiting Manor Road from Route 2, and they were being directed by other motorists and civilians that the vehicle driving erratic with the handgun was going down Hale Road. So our deputies were able to catch up to Hale just as the male enters his ex-girlfriend's property on Hale and rams her vehicle pretty violently in the driveway, and he exits with a firearm, a loaded firearm. So fortunately, he listened to commands by the deputies, and we were able to take him into custody. But he was charged with several felonies. He was also under the influence OBI of suspected drugs. Had many weapons violations. Addition, transport of the firearm was also a defaced firearm. Facing attempted felonious assault on the female and domestic charges, trespassing charges. So it's fortunate that it ended in the way it did. Continuing on with some miscellaneous, we had 86 business checks conducted, 173 community policings, 28 alarms that we responded to, 6 mental health calls, 81 suspicious vehicles, persons and/or circumstance calls, 2 sex offenses, 4 assaults. We had a B&E to 2 vehicles at the same address on Nelmar. They were rummaged through, but they reported nothing missing. There was a neighbor cam that showed 2 individuals walking through, cut through the neighbor's yard. So, but there's not much to go on that right now. 1 missing person, 1 death investigation, natural causes, 4 vandalisms. One of those is vandalism that happened late in the month at Riverside High School on several buses. And on that note, with school starting up, our deputies had just completed in July in the beginning of August active shooter response training as well as mass casualty training, preparing for the start of the school year. We did do a recent posting on the bus violations and infractions and the rules of the roadways on our Facebook, so that hopefully that'll be helpful to the community as a review. A couple side notes here. There is a new scam we're finding within the past couple of weeks on the Ohio Turnpike that basically is text people are receiving on their smartphone, smart devices that basically states this is an invoice, you owe charges for a violation of the turnpike or on the turnpike. It gives a link. It says Ohio Turnpike, the link, but we warn and caution you not to click that link. The real Ohio Turnpike Commission on their website will say they only send invoices via mail, so be aware of that. Their webpage also addresses this very scam, so there's information there as well. The Lake County Fair parade and the fair all went well. There was a lot of good pre-planning between our Lieutenant Rako and the fair board, and I think some of that security pre-planning really helped. And really back on the topic of school, longtime SSO, school security officer Chris Collins resigned.
Oh.
He was over at Buckeye for a few years, so we will miss him. He did a great job. Fortunately, timing was right. We have a new candidate, good prospect to fill that position, a retired minor policeman, a U.S. Marine, and so far he's concluded. We just got the background concluded today, so I'll be meeting with Riverside District for the interview with him. So it's looking good. So timing was good on that. The National Night Out that was scheduled for this evening was postponed in the Painesville Square. That's being postponed due to weather, and it will be held next week, same time, same place, on Tuesday of next week.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Department reports. Service Department,
Nothing yet, Mr. Chairman.
Fire Department,
Nothing there, Mr. Chairman.
Zoning,
Nothing at this time.
Legal,
Nothing yet.
Administrator. All right, Fiscal Officer, you're up.
Request a resolution to certify the cleanup costs for the following properties and amounts. 882 Beach Avenue in the amount of $516, 300 Park Road in the amount of $516, and 880 Ardoyle Avenue in the amount of $413.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's all I have, Mr.
Okay, thanks. All right, trustees, I need a motion imposing an immediate moratorium on issuance and processing of permits allowing smoke shops, vape shops, tobacco stores, head shops, etc. within Painesville Township.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I need a motion to increase Mike Perrin's hourly wage by $1.50 effective July 31, 2024. That's a service department.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to approve payment to Perfection Electric Inc. in the amount of $21,725 for a generator for Town Hall that we received a NOPEC grant for.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, motion to adjourn at 11:33.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.